Ethereum is infinite garden. This is part of the message that I sent to people at the Ethereum Foundation as a year-end message last December. The expression came to my mind when I felt the need of clarifying the image of Ethereum, what is special about Ethereum. It can be different for you, and it's meant to be open for anyone to define. But today, Ethereum's, as you know, growing very quickly, bigger. We felt like this like in 2017, but it's way faster than how it was back then. And I thought it was time to remember what this was all about, and I started with what this has been all about for myself. For me, it was never just about the technology. Yes, the technology is great, and Ethereum's technical architects have been incorporating all your ideas, what you want in a solution, and that is why Ethereum has a huge potential to make all your dreams come true. But I think what's most unique about this is how you and all of us have played in this infinite garden of Ethereum. My idea was inspired by this book, Finite and Infinite Games by James Carse. Unfortunately, we lost him last year. This book was recommended by our dear friend, Stuart Bland, when I joined the Ethereum Foundation, in the year that I joined the Ethereum Foundation. As you know, Stuart is one of the most iconic and the biggest influencers of the world of internet. And you may remember his amazing talk at DevCon Plague. Well, if you haven't watched it, you can watch it on DevCon Archive website. So since then, Stuart has been a fan of Ethereum. And do you know what he said to a tweet criticizing the crypto space? He said, "The Ethereum crowd is cool." So even for him, it is not just about technology, and that was about people. The book explains that there are two types of games that we play in life: finite games and infinite games. A finite game is played for the purpose of winning, and infinite game is played for the purpose of continuing the play. In an infinite game, there is always a winner. There can be more than one winners, but it is always predetermined how many are supposed to win. And there are set of rules that do not change, and the time frame is predetermined, and there's always a definite ending. Players and participants are selected or fixed. On the other hand, in an infinite game, there are no limitations. The objective is not to win, but to keep playing the game, because we want to keep playing. And there is no end. There are rules, but rules and players can change. And in actually, most of the cases, the rules must change in order for the game to be infinite. If you imagine kids playing football or soccer on the street, not the type that forced by their parents, more like more spontaneous ones. They play it because they love it, and some don't wear shoes, some do, and some come in and join, and then some just decide to take a break. And the rules can change. If there is a total beginner, they might pause the play and then start teaching the kid. Because if the beginner gets better playing at the football, the game gets more exciting, and that's great for everyone. So you can see how excitement and passion are the source of motivation for them. And you can also understand why it gets boring. The moment when everything becomes about winning. When the goal is winning, you can change the rules because that would mess up your plans and strategy to win. You might select specific players for your team to score as quickly as possible. You also get very disappointed if you don't win. I want Ethereum to stay interesting and for us to remember the excitement of playing together to continue the game. So I'm not saying playing a sport competitively or competing with each other is all wrong. The book also explains finite games can exist within an infinite game, while the opposite cannot happen. There are competitions and debates within Ethereum, as you see, but those are for Ethereum as a whole to be better, to improve, not for one of the players to win. You can bring your competitiveness while seeking the balance, and the competitiveness is for you to be stronger, not for one of us to be more powerful. What do I mean by garden? The garden is the Ethereum ecosystem that we play all kinds of games. I call it a garden because just like nature, the Ethereum ecosystem wasn't designed. This has evolved. There were gardeners who seized the first seeds originally, but that didn't just create one tree. There have been more trees, different types of plants and creatures who joined to make the garden more vibrant and diverse. And it's also important to mention the power of climate. Mother Nature teaches us lessons by giving us harsh weather sometimes, which makes us more stronger, more creative to come up with our solutions. And the participants in the garden can change, but the garden keeps growing and stays infinite. So I think I cannot think of a better way to describe what is special about Ethereum. Ethereum is not just a superior technology, but what makes it special is the ecosystem, the infinite garden, and the way you shape the garden, driven by curiosity, excitement, and desires to improve the garden for the good of everyone. So how do we maintain this garden stay infinite? This is a question that keeps me up at night lately. As much as I'm excited about Ethereum as you do, I'm also aware that uniqueness of Ethereum, how we have this infinite garden, can change if we are not conscious. If what is the most special about Ethereum is not just technology, we can't just rely on the technology to solve all the challenges we have. I believe this requires the wisdom of human beings. We use the word smart for technologies, smartphones, smart contracts. But notice that we don't use the word wise for technologies. That's because only humans can be wise. We need that wisdom to keep technology developing in the good, healthy direction, and that's how we can make even smart contracts wise. If I'm puzzling you, I might be doing a good job. If I sound like a Zen monk, that's because I agree with Zen monks that answers can only come from within. They ask you questions, they don't answer to your questions, they give you more questions for you to come up with your own answers in the right directions. So today, for your inspiration, I want to introduce some people who I believe are showing how we can keep our garden infinite. These are fellows of the first cohort of the Ethereum Foundation Fellowship Program. I explained in an EF blog the importance of looking at opportunities in emerging economies for the next billion users of Ethereum. The experiments they are doing are all created by simply looking at how to improve the people's life around them. And their work will not only empower and help local communities, but also inspire others even in developed countries to learn from and even copy. Again, not to win the game, but to keep playing the game together. One of the fellows, Naroa, on the right, is working on a project called Giga. This was founded by UNICEF originally and now bringing in many other supporters. This project's mission is to provide connectivity, connect schools with the internet, which helps to improve the digital divide and gives children an equal access to education. In many countries, in developing countries in the world, the government doesn't even know how many schools exist. So they started with mapping the schools that exist with AI, and then check the connectivity. Here's a map of Latin America. If you zoom in to Colombia, it shows the map with green arrow and red dots. Green dots shows where the schools that are connected, and the yellow shows the spotty internet, and red means there's no internet. So why is it not easy for these schools to be connected? Other than the physical infrastructure issues in rural areas, there are always coordination issues, like coordination of governance, payments, and financing that actually block schools to be connected. This is where Ethereum can add values. I have great news. Today we have Naroa actually here, coming all the way from Mexico to join me on the stage. And I believe she is one of Ethereum gardeners working to bring internet connectivities to tens of thousands of schools, millions of kids, and their communities around. Using the power of Ethereum. Okay, yeah, let's sit down.
Thanks. Wait, yeah. Thanks so much, Aya. Thanks so much for
welcome, Naroa, to your first Ethereum event.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me here, and also for inviting me for becoming part of this garden and playing this infinite game. So thanks.
This wasn't, to be honest, this wasn't easy to bring her up here because there's a lot of things we need to coordinate because she's from orange country and during the COVID. Okay, anyway, I want you to share first. Will you maybe first share how and why you decided to join the Giga team? And what is your role there?
Yeah, thanks for that. I'm the technology lead for Giga, where I lead our data and technology work, including the blockchain work. And actually, I was already part of UNICEF's Office of Innovation when Giga started, and I was part of the team that started it. So rather than a decision, I would say that it was more of an organic transition, if that makes sense.
I see. So, as I mentioned, right, in this talk, I explained where Ethereum can add values for coordination issues, for payments and governance, and also even financing. Can you elaborate and explain how that works, actually?
Yeah, you are right. Giga is looking into how Ethereum and blockchain can add value through the entire initiative, and how can it help us create a system to efficiently deliver connectivity to communities, in particular remote and vulnerable communities. So within that context, I'd like to mention 3 things that we are working on. First of all, and as you showed in that map, we are building a live map of school connectivity, where we are able to see in real time whether a school is connected to the internet or not. And this data, recorded on a public blockchain, gives us a record that we can then use to create smart contracts, automate payments to providers based on their performance. So meaning that if a school is green in the map, it's connected to the internet, and therefore the payment to the provider would happen. Whereas if the school is red, we could hold payments until the school turns green again. This accounting platform helps us to make sure that the money that we're investing in connectivity is actually reaching every school. And it also helps us build other things on top of that. So the other example that I wanted to talk about is the Giga connectivity credit. Similar to carbon credits, Giga is building an incentive system where providers and other tech companies would be incentivized to extend their networks to more difficult reach areas or places that might be most costly to reach. So basically each school would be granted a credit based on how difficult it is to connect, and then providers, if they connect a school, then they would be able to collect the credits and redeem them for things such as tax exemptions and other incentives. And we are actually right now looking for companies to help us prototype this concept of connectivity token. We have a call for proposals open, so if there is anyone in this room that is working in this space and that might be interested, happy to discuss more later. And then finally, the other area of work that I wanted to mention are NFTs and rewards for things such as fundraising, increasing engagement, as well as creating value through activities such as crowdsourcing. And again, we have few ideas that we are planning to prototype and build over the next few months. So once more, if there is anyone in the room that would like to talk more, happy to do that later.
Yeah, I've seen like your team has been constantly adding new things, and you know, we try to work together because you're a fellow and then help you, but it's like proactively adding, moving very quickly. And I mean, supplies that's, you know, like coming from UNICEF, that the team moves very quick and they make friends and they move forward. You know, it's been amazing, yeah. So, oh yeah, and then maybe you can explain, like I have participated in some of the meetings with governments in Africa, and this is also like was a new addition that you started exploring, like how to let them participate in ETH2 staking. Well, I shouldn't call it ETH2, but the staking. So how is that? Maybe you can explain, like describe how the conversation is going.
Yeah, sure. So actually one of the most exciting things, and probably also the most challenging things about this project, is that in order to do all the things that I was describing, we need to work very closely with governments. And that means that we need to work with them to both build local capacity and also to set up the right regulatory frameworks to help them be prepared for the future of the digital money and digital economy. And over there, the meeting that you were talking about, it's a good example. We are working with few African countries to stake ETH and use the rewards to pay for the ongoing school connectivity fees. And for that, I think it was last week, also it was great to have you in that meeting. I think that your participation was really helpful in that meeting. We held a workshop with different stakeholders of one of these countries. And we had both ministries of education, ICT, as well as the central bank. And it was really exciting to see their engagement and willingness to move this forward.
Yeah. So I think like you might think like a staking rewards, how much that would help like in a regular developed country way, but it's not just financially. I think it's very great to really like let them be involved and then be able to be part of it, and then that actually creates this whole like transparency and like the right type of governance, which I think that was very amazing to see. I've spoken with different governments, and then that was the best enthusiasm that I felt in the conversation. Okay, so since our time is limited, I think maybe it's like how you are you are the first fellow of our fellowship program. What's your experience been?
It's been a great experience so far, I must say. It's really exciting to be part of this first cohort and of this community as well. Because I guess that for me, even if the technical support that we are getting, it's really helpful and great, the most unique thing about the fellowship is that you become part of the community that's behind it. And that community includes both the other fellows as well as members of the broader Ethereum community. So that's really exciting and really, really great.
Awesome, yeah.
And yeah, I don't know if I could also ask you maybe other way around. What do you think about the fellowship so far and your vision or its role moving forward?
Yeah, so literally, you know that I have almost cried many times participating in the fellows conversation because I felt, oh wow, this is the reason why I've been in crypto space for a long time. But thank you for asking. And maybe lastly, one more thing, because this is very important. I have to, because you came all the way here. You have requests and maybe questions to the community members. Maybe the list of things that you said, you're looking for experts on in what types, and maybe you can share that so that people can come to you.
Yeah, exactly. As I said earlier, lots of the work that we do it with collaborators. And one thing maybe that I didn't mention earlier is that everything that we build, it's open and it's open source so that different members, different groups can contribute, can also take the solutions that we build and adapt them. So if there is anyone in this room that is willing to collaborate with us, build something together, would love to hear more about you.
Okay, thank you so much, and thank you again for joining us today
Thanks.
on the stage, and welcome.
Thanks.
Okay, I'm sure you have a lot more to talk about with her, and please come up to her. She's here for the rest of the event, and thank you very much for listening.